From having people threaten to kill me to having a homeless guy choking his chicken in the middle of an aisle, service jobs are honestly not for the weak. I'm sure most of you watching this probably remember the first job you had. Most of you probably had a service type job where you were forced to interact with customers. And if you did, then you know just how much fun and how much of a headache it can be to interact with people. Anyways, I remember my first job was near the end of my senior year of high school. I had never applied to a job before, so I did my little research. I wore a nice polo shirt and khakis to a freaking fast food restaurant interview. Dude, they didn't even look at my resume at all. All they did was ask, "So why do you want to work here? And when can you start?" I don't know, everywhere else I want to go, they say they need like 5 years of experience and I should have cured cancer before I'm allowed to just file papers away, because apparently everywhere needs such an unholy amount of prior experience. Anyways, when I first started, I was thinking, you know what? This is easy. I don't know why people say they hate service jobs. Nah, man, when I tell you that you meet some of the craziest people in service jobs, you meet some of the most unhinged people possible in service jobs. Fast food places will have the GTA NPCs or spectacles only seen at Walmart, truly. I mean, just the other day we were in the drive-thru to get my wife a new drink from the place I used to work at, and I saw this guy riding down the street on a moped, and I told her, I bet you this guy is about to come into here. And yes, he went through the drive-thru on his little moped, and this wasn't just like a normal little moped that looks close to a bike. No, this was the type of moped that looked like one of those little scooters from Walmart. As a matter of fact, I don't know. It might have been. He put some nitro boost on that thing. I don't know. Dog, one time I had a guy offer me a whole job while I was working the window. He was telling me how he was looking for hardworking men like me and to give him a call. He didn't give me his phone number or tell me what the business was. I think he might have been trying to kidnap me. I don't know. Or maybe he was the main character and I forgot my NPC dialogue to ask what his business was. I really couldn't tell you. Do you guys crash out over some spilled soda? Well, I remember this one time this guy came through with his girlfriend and I for the life of me could not understand what they were saying. If you've worked in fast food, you know what I'm talking about. Those headsets are so bobo that you can just barely make out what people say, and half the time when you're speaking to the customer in the drive-thru, the speaker cuts out so they only hear like half of what you say. Let it be known that by the third time I had asked this guy to repeat himself, his girlfriend started yelling at me on the speaker, which, you know, of course, I could hear that part clearly. But keeping it as a professional doormat to be walked on, I just apologized and asked them to pull forward. Now, I won't lie, they got me a little heated, a little steaming, you know, so I had to ask my buddy, hey man, can you go and deal with these people, please? I don't think I can deal with these guys. So he goes over to the window, and not even 30 seconds later, he tells me over the headset, yeah, dude, you gotta come over here. I cannot deal with these people. So immediately I was like, you can't be serious. But I went over there and I lean out the window. I'm sorry, what seems to be the problem? There ain't no problem. I'm just waiting on my food. At that point, I had absolutely no clue what was going on. Thankfully, the food was just about ready, so I handed the guy his drinks. And when I went to grab the food and turned back around, this guy was just yelling and cursing. I was just kind of standing there staring for a second because I didn't know what was happening. And I'm just standing there with this bag of food like, here's your food. Man, I gotta pull up. This crap spilled all over my dash. I still had no clue what was going on, so I just went up to my manager and was like, hey, I'm not really sure what's happening, but that guy just pulled up because something is wrong apparently. When the manager came back in, it all started to make sense. So what had happened was he spilled his soda, right? But the catch was he said it was me who did it. Thankfully, my manager knew that wasn't the case. But the craziest part about it is what he said to my manager after that. My manager was like, he said that you guys did that to him on purpose because he knew he was being mean to you guys. And he said that he also knows that we have cameras in the drive-thru and we saw his license plate and that he knows we'll come after him and he's gonna kill us if we try. I don't know what that guy was tweaking out on. Maybe he was having a bad night or something. I don't really know, but I just thought it was crazy for a full-grown man to threaten an 18-year-old over a spilt drink. By the way, what happened was when I handed him the drink, he poked his straw too hard into the styrofoam because he was too mad to do it gently. So the lesson of that story is to make sure you don't poke a hole in your styrofoam cup, I guess. Now, while that was on the extreme side, I do want to take it back a notch and just talk about the, well, when I was here last time type of customers. These are the people that come in and think just because they've been there one time in 1975, they know how everything should be. As a fast food place, you'll typically have a revolving menu. Most items will stay, but you'll always have a few that are getting replaced or coming back depending on the time of year. Well, I typically got people who would want to argue with me about why a certain item wasn't on the menu anymore. I'd like the chocolate malt, please. I'm sorry, sir, we don't have that item. Well, the last time I checked, I was here, you did, so where is it? I'm not sure, sir, I just started working here. Well, when is it coming back? I'm not sure. Well, you shouldn't have gotten rid of it. Like, dog, as if the part-time worker has any control over the business matter. You would not believe the amount of people who tell you that you need to change it. Well, you should make them put it back. Yeah, man, I'm sure the one customer ordering that menu item is really gonna make them bring it back. They'll definitely listen to the one part-time worker. Let's send it straight to the top. #1 priority. You also got people that were like OCD specific about what they got. There was one time a guy started yelling at me and sent a milkshake back just because I said it in a different way than he did. He said he wanted a strawberry banana milkshake, and all I did was say banana strawberry, which, if you didn't realize, is the same thing, just I said it in a different way. Man, when I tell you this guy started getting mad, this guy started yelling at me like he was about to grab me through the speaker and start strangling me like Homer Simpson. I said a strawberry banana milkshake, not banana strawberry. I wasn't even trying to provoke him. I just let him know it was the same thing and nothing was different, because it was the same exact thing. So eventually he calmed down and the milkshake was brought to him, and he ends up sending it back, of course, and he told the coworker that it tastes different. Then we brought him out another milkshake made exactly the same way, and he said it was fine. So some people really just don't like it when you say things out of order and will crash out on you. I think one of the worst parts of working that job was the specials. Oh my gosh, the special deal timeframes were insane. If you don't know what I'm talking about how some places are like, come in between 2 to 4 and get a free side of fries. That type of thing. I don't think I've ever hustled harder in my life than when we had our summer night specials. For all of summer. Past a certain time, we had a half price special. People would start lining up in the drive-thru like 5 to 10 minutes before it starts. And it was just non-stop. Like from the moment the deal starts to the end, it's just an endless stream of people. So if you didn't take your break prior to that, sorry, buddy, but you won't be taking it now. It's all hands on deck. It got so bad sometimes that people would actually be obstructing traffic waiting to turn into the parking lot. The worst part about it was that most cars would come in and have like 3 to 4 separate orders for one car. And that would block like half of the order screen, so some people ordering normal food would have to wait forever for stuff because the cook couldn't even see it until we were able to clear off the other stuff that got ordered. Like we had to get into actual little stations to make sure it went smoothly. And if somebody stopped pulling their weight, it turned into chaos. Like the moment somebody took too long to clean or make something, we would be backed up for the rest of the night. That then led to people getting really mad when I had to go out and hand them their food. It takes 15 minutes for a hamburger? Yes, Barbara, because I'm not the one cooking it. Unfortunately, my cook goes out to smoke the devil's lettuce anytime we get busy, so he took an extra 10 minutes to make your hamburger. There's also this one time that a homeless guy tried climbing into the back of somebody's Jeep while they were in the drive-thru, which the people noticed and had to speed off and leave their food. Then the homeless guy came in and just sat in the corner of the inside restaurant area while this family was inside. And I felt bad because the homeless guy was clearly not okay because he had puke in his beard, and then the family had 2 little kids with them. I felt bad for both groups, honestly. But my manager ended up calling the police on the homeless guy. And I used to live in an area where there really wasn't a lot of crime happening. So when they got called, all of them show up. So we had like 5 sheriffs walk in and start interrogating this guy. Eventually one of them came up and said, "We can't do anything because he isn't disturbing anyone. He said he just wants some water," which I don't know exactly what my manager was expecting. It's kind of like when an older person sees someone just running in their neighborhood and they call the cops because they think they're going to do something, when all the guy was doing was just going out for a run. I think all jobs also have that one task that nobody likes to do. Like, it's not hard, but nobody wants to do it because it's either tedious or it just sucks. Well, for us, that was the outside trash can. Dude, I don't understand what leads people to throw away some of the things that they do, but I kid you not, I think I saw just about anything imaginable in there. I even saw a used balloon in there one time. The kind you wrap around your extra leg, if you know what I mean. Diapers, tobacco, needles. One time somebody put a baby in there because they said it cried too much. Nah, I'm just kidding about that last part. That's not real. But seriously though, so many things got thrown in there. And it had the absolute worst smell I have ever smelled in my entire life. It still haunts me to this day. The main reason I think it smelled so bad is because it's sitting out there all day blazing in the sun, and then people throw in uneaten food, drinks, cigarettes, baby diapers, you know, just anything. All that added up, especially with literal feces in there, yeah, it's gonna smell. You actually had to hold your breath for like the whole minute if you took that thing out. We'd always be standing in the window watching whoever was taking the trash out because it was a guaranteed gag if you caught a whiff of it. Then you'd look up and see everyone laughing at you while you gagged and almost threw up. Good times. Also, when it comes to service, you probably have regulars come by. These are the type of people you see on a weekly, maybe even daily basis if you work there. They're basically little celebrities because all the employees know them, even the general manager. But there was this one lady who would come by and order 2 of the largest size sodas possible. But you had to make it a specific way. She also sounded like a gnat flying in your ear when she pulled up because she was just that famous that you were supposed to know how to make her drink automatically. Not even kidding, she pulls up and it's... Then my manager says, "You can go ahead and pull up, Sally." There's no way you heard any of that. She wasn't even speaking human. We also had this one guy who would come like every Tuesday night and order 20 hamburgers. 20 hamburgers. I mean, in his defense, they were half price, so it was actually like $15 or something. I don't know, I can't really remember. I know what you're thinking. These people were like the guy from the movie Whale. They have to be ginormous. Surprisingly, they weren't. No lie. That woman who got the sodas was actually pretty skinny, and the older guy who got the hamburgers was just like an average built guy. So, you know, never judge a book based off their fast food order. Now, when you guys went into work, there was one thing that would tell you if it was going to be a good or a bad shift. Which manager you had that shift. Man, I cannot tell you the amount of sadness you got when you walked in through those doors and you see the manager that has the handbook tattooed onto their back standing there. Look, I get it, okay? As someone who has had multiple jobs and I've been in leadership roles before, I do understand the need to follow rules and procedures. But some of them take it way too far. Like for instance, if a customer forgets to ask for ice in their drink, I'm not gonna charge somebody 69 cents for a cup of ice. Nah, you better charge them. As a matter of fact, make it 169 since they need this cup too. Okay man, this is why nobody eats here. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Like personally, when I worked there and somebody would mess something up and tell me, "Hey, I meant to ask for an Oreo cookie instead of the chocolate chip. I know I already paid, but I have the cash to pay for the other one." I just hand them the other cookie and say not to worry about it. Like, dude, I'm not gonna hassle you over a $2 cookie. Those people also usually gave me a tip too, so a win-win. Although I wouldn't tell my manager because, well, you know, I don't think I was supposed to be doing that, but I'm just a charitable guy. Also, depending on the manager was whether or not your lunch was free. One manager let you eat for free and the other gave you the quote-unquote discount that was like 10%. Also, the manager that let you eat for free, shout out to her because she would make sure that your stuff was like extra crispy and make it however you liked it. She was awesome. On a related note, the people you work with really make or break your overall experience in these service jobs. You have to have some funny people to work with or else it's just not gonna be a good time. Thankfully, the people I worked with were pretty funny. The one guy I worked with used to laugh whenever I got something wrong. Like, he had to have supersonic hearing or something because he could always understand what people were saying. So he'd hear me say things like, "I'm sorry, you said you wanted pickles in it?" "No, I said that I wanted a chocolate milkshake." Like I said, those speakers were crazy. He'd also just go outside and randomly start screaming into the headset, especially if it was raining or storming. The other guy I worked with would also start speaking to me on the headset while I was taking an order, or get on the speaker as soon as they started pulling around and just start saying crazy things and cursing them out. They couldn't hear it. He knew when they were past it already, so nobody ever heard it. But that also leads me into my next point. If you are a rude customer, I'm sorry, but you probably end up having something demonetizable happen to your order. Whether you get the old patty that's been sitting on the grill since 8 a.m. or you get the most soggy fries possible, like, I'm sorry, but I've seen it plenty. You better check that milkshake with the black light and make sure it doesn't have some extra milk in it. Now, I know what you want to ask. Did I ever do anything like that? Yes, but not anything crazy. The craziest thing I did was take a Band-Aid off the floor and mix it into a milkshake. I'm just kidding, I didn't do that. I promise. I promise I didn't do that. Actually, the craziest thing I would do is just purposely make sure I put less flavoring in a drink or give them a pathetic amount of fries. Cause like, why do you feel the need to be mean to the people who handle your food? Personally, I always treat fast food and restaurant people with kindness and respect cause I don't want the secret sauce to be put into my food without my consent. By the way, All of this kind of stuff happened in the span of like a few months. Some other things happened, but it was more or less just the regular Oblivion NPC coming through the drive-thru to try and fight you over a bag of fries. I do have a lot more stories from some of my other jobs, but I'll save those for another video. Let me know what your guys' first job experiences were like, or any of the crazy stories you have. If you like what you heard, remember to like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good morning, a good afternoon, or a good night.